on the phones with us. We have, I believe she is in Arkansas campaigning this morning, and she will be here in South Carolina on Friday. So a lot of people making up their minds and trying to decide exactly what's going on. Let's welcome to the program this morning right now, Miss Carly Fiorina. How are you?
Good morning, Charlie. I'm well. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Of course, I got to meet you at the USS Yorktown while you were here in Charleston a few weeks ago, and you're going to be back in South Carolina on Friday down in Beaufort and Hilton Head, right?
That is correct.
All right.
I'll tell you what, that was a dramatic night in Charleston. My goodness, you all had hurricanes and floods and all that. I got out in the nick of time, I must say.
You sure did. You didn't miss it by much. That was a cold, blustery day on the Yorktown there. All right, Miss Fiorina, the time is, it seems like a long time away, over a year, but it's kind of getting narrow now to the First in the South primary. What are you going to do between now and then to make yourself stand out from the pack?
Well, first I would say, yes, we are coming down to it. On the other hand, we have not yet finished what I would describe as the process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
We have 15 candidates in this race still on the Republican side. And so it is still a process of elimination before it's a process of selection. And I start with that because I intend to be one of those standing when we get down to a process of selection. The truth is, everything about me is different.
Mm-hmm.
I am an outsider, but I also have the requisite experience to actually lead. And what I mean by that is I understand how the economy works, how the world works, and who's in it. I understand big bureaucracies, which is what the government has become. I understand technology, and I have a track record of leadership. That is, challenging the status quo, producing results, and solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of politicians in the field, and we have a couple of outsiders in the field who have different experience set than I do. I am running, honestly, because I think I'm the most qualified candidate to win this job and the most qualified candidate to do this job. And I think the more that voters in South Carolina and elsewhere get to know me, and I am the least known candidate in the race still, the more voters get to know me, the more support I build. And so we like the momentum and the trajectory very much right now.
Right now, of course, I mean, Donald Trump, Ben Carson, beating Donald Trump in the polls this morning. The debate's coming up on Wednesday. How do you use that opportunity to say, I am the best qualified? Because, I mean, I'll tell you right now, you said there was a lot of politicians in the race, but I don't know of any of these politicians or any of the other candidates that are as understanding of world politics and world leaders as you are.
Well, thank you. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in and around the world, and I do know more world leaders than anyone running, with the possible exception of Hillary Clinton, but I didn't do photo ops.
Mm-hmm.
I did private meetings. I've spent a lot of time in and around our military and our intelligence community. So the debate is a big opportunity because every time I get on a debate stage, more people get to know me. When I went into that CNN debate in September, half the people watching had never heard my name.
Right, yes.
And they didn't know I was running for president. When I go into this next debate, we still have 40% of people who don't know who I am. And so I need to keep introducing myself, and I also need to go do the work on the ground, which is why I was in South Carolina. It's why I'll be there tomorrow again. And so it's a great opportunity. But I will use that opportunity, as I did the last couple of debates, to make sure that people know who I am, what I've done, what my point of view is, and to say to folks that we really are at a pivotal point in our nation's history. And we need someone who can win this job because we need to win. When you listen to that Democrat debate last week, the tilt to the left is absolutely frightening.
Mm-hmm.
And we also need somebody who can do the job now, because these are difficult, complicated, perilous times. Our government is completely out of control. We are no longer leading in the world, and our economy is crushing the people that we need to be lifting up, whether that's a small business owner or a middle-class family or somebody living in poverty who wants to build a better life.
When you see people like Bernie Sanders say that we should be more like Denmark and countries like that, what's your reaction to that?
I find it absolutely frightening.
Mm-hmm.
I find it absolutely frightening for many reasons. One, because we are not like any other country. This is the only nation on the planet, and in all of human history, actually, that was built on an idea that every individual has value, that we judge each individual as an individual, never as a member of a group, that here you have a right, regardless of your circumstances, to fulfill your potential, and that right should not be taken away by government. And what Bernie Sanders is preaching is that government should determine winners and losers. That's what government always does. Mm-hmm. Denmark is not an ideal for me. It's a nice country, but it's not who we are intended to be.
And the highest debt per capita of any modernized country, and a lot of that is because they pay a minimum 40% on their taxes.
Well, that's right. That's right. And, Denmark, look, why is this nation a place of greater possibilities for more people than anywhere else on earth? Because we understand individuals have power, and the Constitution was written, in fact, to prevent abuses of power by government. And unfortunately, our government has become abusive in its power. The reason people are tired of politicians is, honestly, Republican politicians have contributed to that as well. There's no doubt Democrats are worse. Mm-hmm. But you can't look at government and say that Republicans have made it smaller. They haven't. Government has gotten bigger and more powerful for 50 years and more costly for 50 years. That's called crony capitalism, because when the government is big and powerful, only the big, the wealthy, the well-connected, and the powerful can deal with big government. The small and the powerless get crushed.
So speaking of that, the income, they say the income divide is now greater than it's ever been. What would a Carly Fiorina presidency, how would you address that?
Well, first of all, they're right. Income inequality is greater than it's ever been, and it's gotten far worse under President Obama. Mm-hmm. Why? Because all of these policies favor the big, the powerful, the wealthy, the well-connected. Let's just take, for example, zero interest rate policy from the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Who does that hurt? It doesn't hurt the investor class. It helps them. Who does it hurt? The young couple trying to save in their bank account for their first home, the middle-class family, the retiree living on a pension. That policy hurts. Or here's another example. The Democrats are totally on the wrong side of education. They protect the status quo of the teachers' union. When you take away choices from parents, you take away chances from kids. Who does that hurt? Not the wealthy who are rich enough to send their kids to private schools, not the teachers' unions. No, it helps the small, the powerless, and those who hope their kids are going to get a chance through education. Who does it hurt when government gets more powerful and we have a 73,000-page tax code? Not a big corporation. They can hire the accountants and the lawyers. It hurts the small business owner. If you look at the progressive states, like California, for example, governed by progressive policies for decades, what you'll find is more billionaires than anywhere else in the country, the highest poverty rates in the country, and the exodus of the middle class.
You say more billionaires, but the state's broke.
Well, yes, isn't that true? Although, politicians tend to have funny money. So, Governor Moonbeam, Jerry Brown keeps saying, they have a surplus. If the stock market goes down much further, they're not going to have a surplus.
Right.
They have pension liabilities that are crushing. But this is the argument we have to have, is the point, Charlie. We have to have a leader who will challenge the status quo and get this under control, which means we have to know where our money is being spent. We got to go to some version of zero-based budgeting in the government. We have to hold government officials accountable. We have to vastly simplify the tax code. We have to hack through the regulatory thicket. I mean, we're a nation of rules now. We're not even a nation of laws anymore. We just have bureaucrats rolling out rules.
Yeah. That's true. All right, we're talking with Carly Fiorina, Republican presidential hopeful. Now, you just mentioned all of these things. The only way you're going to be able to do that is to have a unified party behind you. What's the state of the Republican Party right now as you see it?
Well, I think we are having, on the presidential side, obviously, a vigorous and rigorous primary. I think we need to select a candidate who will unify the party. And that means, by the way, we have to have a candidate who is conservative, but who people think can actually govern. We have to have a candidate who is willing to challenge the status quo, and we have to have a candidate that demonstrably can beat Hillary Clinton. I'll tell you what, Charlie, I do a lot of events, and not everybody has made up their mind to support me.
Right.
But I say one thing that everybody always applauds on. In your heart of hearts, you cannot wait to see me debate Hillary Clinton.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that.
There's only one way that happens.
Yeah.
There's only one way that happens.
So, and she is right now. She's showing up for her testimony before the Benghazi investigation. What do you think is going to come of this? Anything?
Well, look, Trey Gowdy is a great man and a great leader, and he is trying to do a great job. Unfortunately, he's taken on a lot of friendly fire in the last couple of weeks, which is really unfortunate. There are some Republicans who have given Hillary Clinton a gift by suggesting that this committee was politicized. Trey Gowdy has not and will not politicize this inquiry. But I hope very much that the American people will pay attention. And I'll tell you the question that I will ask on a general election debate stage that I hope is asked in these hearings today. Why, as you clearly knew, on the night of those purposeful terrorist attacks on an embassy in which 4 Americans were killed, why did you get up the next morning, go into the State Department, and apologize for a videotape that does not represent American values instead of saying, this is a purposeful terrorist attack and we will seek retribution? Why did you not tell the truth?
And then hopefully Trey will ask that question sometime today. So, all right. I know that you got a very busy schedule. One last question. Why should the people of South Carolina vote for Carly Fiorina?
Because I can win this job. We have to win. And because I can do this job. We need a leader now who will work with the citizens of this great nation to challenge the status quo in Washington, D.C., to get our economy going and growing again, to cut government down to size and hold it accountable, and to lead in the world again. This is a pivotal time in our nation's history. It truly is. I wouldn't be running if I didn't think that was the case, and I wouldn't be running if I didn't believe that I was the most qualified candidate to win this job and to do this job. Hillary Clinton asked people to vote for her because she's a woman. I will never ask someone to vote for me because I'm a woman, although I'm proud to be a woman. I will ask for people's support because I am qualified to win and do the job.
No, we appreciate you being on the program. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Charlie. All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Carly Fiorina on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.